I want to ask you about something you said. You said Democrats, there are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You said that back in January. But recently, you've been using the term rigged elections in reference to the upcoming midterms. Democrats were appalled when President Trump used language like that. How do you justify using that now? Doesn't that undermine faith for voters? You need to show up.
No, I've been using that term in the context of Donald Trump's unprecedented effort to gerrymander congressional maps in a partisan fashion all across the country in order to rig the midterm elections and deny the ability of the American people to actually decide who should be in the majority as it relates to the House of Representatives.
Democrats are also going through gerrymandering and redistricting.
No. Well, Democrats are going to push back aggressively to make sure that we have fair maps across the country, not partisan gerrymandering, which Republicans have initiated in state after state after state.
Leader Jeffries, thank you for your time this morning.
Leader Jeffries, you're lying. Thank you for your time. Hey, welcome into Courageous Media. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. So we have a great series of videos for you today. As you saw, Margaret Brennan in a rare bout of actual journalism. I don't know what happened. If she's sick, is something wrong? But Margaret Brennan actually engaged a real question for a Democrat. Go figure. And of course, Dime Store Obama, Timu Obama, whatever you want to call him, Dollar General Obama just folded like a wet blanket. He is just ridiculous. So she asked him a simple question. Hey, you guys lambasted Republicans for being election deniers because they said that the elections were rigged. And here you are running around saying the elections are rigged. And all Timu Obama, Dime Store Obama could come up with was, pay no attention to the fact that I'm lying when my lips are moving. I said rigged, but I really didn't mean rigged. And I could have meant rigged, but I meant rigged because it's actually rigged. And it's only viable when it's rigged, when we say it's rigged. And, because Republicans are trying to gerrymander districts, but pay no attention to the fact that every single blue state in America has gerrymandered their districts so horribly, so ridiculously that they have literally wrung every ounce of juice out of that gerrymandering that they could. You've got states that have 40 and 45% voters for Trump, people who voted Republican by 40 and 45% that have zero representatives in Congress. We're going to get into that because at the same time that Margaret Brennan was cooking Dime Store Obama, Schwarzenegger, never Trumper Schwarzenegger, was literally roasting Tapper and Newsom on the same subject. This is absolutely fantastic stuff. I really appreciate everybody rolling up on a Monday. A fantastic Monday it is, following a Tottenham win and a Broncos win. We got the double this weekend, which is great stuff. But Lynn Sanger in the house, welcome in. You got a new handle, Lynn Sanger 9950. You're right. They have no credibility anymore. They have lost all credibility. But we've got a few great stories for you today. We're going to dive into this, to the media actually doing a little bit of journalism. Like I said, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they're sick, but they're actually doing some journalism. We're going to check that out. Then we're going to dive into some of our foreign friends, see what's going on in Argentina. At the same time, we're going to look at what's happening in New York City, because they couldn't be two more polar opposites. And finally, what happened with Trump on his trip to Malaysia? I really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks so much for being here. Let's keep going. So as you've got Margaret Brennan cooking, absolutely cooking Jeffries, we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger on a show with Jake Tapper. And Jake Tapper pulled him up to interview him and thought he was going to get a different set of answers than he actually got. He asked him to react to a clip of Gavin Newsom, literally out there pounding the desk, saying that we have to break the Constitution, talking about the California state Constitution. We have to violate the Constitution because Republicans are bad. All right, check this out. Here we go.
Can we stand up for people that are being intimidated and attacked like American cities, like our diverse communities? Can we stand up to a Supreme Court that says on a shadow docket it's okay to racially profile in the United States of America? That means all of us, because of where you congregate, not just the color of your skin or the language you speak. That's Donald Trump's America right now. This is a revolution that's going on in real time in our country. We need to wake up about it. I know it's shock and awe. It could be overwhelming, and every single day there's a new shiny object. But Prop 50 is foundational if we're going to save this republic. So I would say to those that are opposed to it, wake up to these new realities. Spare me the moral high ground at this particular moment in American history.
Where Republicans are actually leveling the playing field, and we can't win by fiat anymore. We can't cheat our way into the House of Representatives. So now we have to cheat again, is essentially what Gavin Newsom is saying. Newsom is all over. Spare me the moral high ground. Spare me this nonsense because the Republicans are out gerrymandering their districts. Guess what the Republicans have not done for the last 30 years? They have not, in effect, gerrymandered their red states, while blue states gerrymandered the hell out of everything. You've all seen the maps of Illinois. You've literally got there's 2 Democrat districts that go corner to corner throughout the entire state of Illinois in order to make them Democrat districts, in order to rob Republicans of seats. You've got New Mexico, 0 Republicans represented. Massachusetts, 0 Republicans represented. We're going to get into that. Now, that was the clip that Jake Tapper asked Arnold Schwarzenegger, never Trumper Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I say that because I want to help you clue in that Schwarzenegger is not down for, let's go fight for Trump. Schwarzenegger has been never Trump from the get-go, but realize that Schwarzenegger has to call out, he's still calling out the truth in this case. He may not be able to stand Trump, but at the same time, he knows that Newsom and the Democrats are utter and egregious liars. So Tapper just asked Schwarzenegger to react to the clip you just saw. Here we go.
As you acknowledged, this all started because of redistricting in Texas, and this was Trump pushing Republican-controlled states to throw out their current congressional maps so as to cook the books, so that it is less likely for Democrats to retake control of the House during the next year midterms. I mean, is it fair to argue that do you believe that the Republican Party is starting this?
No, Jake. There has been gerrymandering going on for 200 years. There is
I love it. Look at Jake Tapper's face. Wait a minute. That's not the answer I expected. That's why we brought the Never Trumper on, because we just thought he'd roll over and say Trump's evil, Trump's a Nazi, Trump's Hitler. Schwarzenegger goes, no, Jake. No, Jake. Gerrymandering's been going on for 200 years. And there's Jake about ready to cry in his soup.
such extreme gerrymandering going on that in a state like Massachusetts, that has like 40% of the people voting for Trump, they have 0 representatives. The Republican Party has 0 representatives sent to the House. Think about that. In New Mexico, if 45% of the people voted for Trump and voted Republican, and 0 is sent to the House, 0 representative from the Republican Party. So there's gerrymandering, crazy gerrymandering going on all over the country.
And for my liberal friends who may be watching, just so you know, 0 is a low number. It's a really low number. For those of you from Rio Linda, to quote Rush Limbaugh, 0 is a low number, especially when almost half the state votes for Trump and they have 0 representatives in Congress. I love it because Schwarzenegger is making Tapper look like a complete idiot in this.
And we wanted to try to stop it in California, and we did stop it in California, and we went around the country. So I think this whole thing about finger pointing and saying they did it, so therefore we should doing it, that's not really the way to go. The one party should outperform the other party. It should be performance. And when it comes to midterm elections, as you know, always the party that is not in the White House usually wins by 20, 25, 30 seats. So what does 5 seats matter in the first place in Texas? It is crazy. Yeah. We should outperform them. That is where the action is.
But those 5 seats are going to matter because Dems are already realizing that they're done. that they are cooked, that they are in trouble. In the middle of Trump's first term, remember that Dems were +8 on the generic ballot. Now, today, they're only +3. So they do not have this gigantic wave to overcome whatever Republican states might do in gerrymandering. The Democrat Party is extremely unpopular right now, extremely unpopular. And the way the congressional map is shaping up, there's only about 25 contested seats. Most everything else is pretty solid, blue or red. So the Democrats have a limited field in order to try to flip the House. If you figure it's 25, 30, 35 seats, somewhere in that number, and Republicans start gerrymandering 5, 10, seats out of that number, that number goes down by 10, 15, 20 seats. It could get really ugly for Democrats, especially considering how unpopular they are. So Schwarzenegger lays it out. This gerrymandering has been going on for 200 years, and the Democrats have done it they've made it a science and an art. They have gerrymandered everything they can out of their blue states. What makes them upset is that now Republicans have caught on. Republicans are no longer the castrated, controlled opposition, just doing what the Democrats want in order to get along with the uniparty. And, the politicians get rich while the people of America get screwed. No, Republicans have caught on to the Trump, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, Besant wing of the party that is, no, we are going to fight. And they are now leveling the playing field. They are gerrymandering their own states to match the blue Democrat states. And the Democrats realize that when that happens, they will be permanently out of power, let alone what's happening with the Voting Rights Act and the fact that the Supreme Court is poised to get rid of racially gerrymandered districts, which could add another 20, 30 seats because they would force everybody to redraw their maps. So Schwarzenegger's absolutely right. And what he said was because it was Schwarzenegger in office when California essentially pushed gerrymandering to an independent redistricting commission. Now, realize they're all elected by Democrats, so they're all ultra left anyway, but they're not quite, but they don't bow to the politicians. They don't actually say, okay, we're going to gerrymander whenever you want. There's an actual commission. There's an actual board. Well, what Newsom is trying to do is to get rid of that. He's trying to break the California Constitution because that was a ballot measure. He's trying to break the California Constitution in order to go re-gerrymander California. And Schwarzenegger's having none of it. Tapper tries to convince him that, well, it's okay because this thing is temporary, right? And Schwarzenegger cooks him again in another brilliant little diatribe here. Check this out.
I think when they say this is temporary, there is no such thing. I mean, the longest programs are government programs that are temporary. Okay, just remember that if it is a tax program or if it is the redistricting program, anything that is temporary with government is permanent. So in the year 2032, when the independent redistricting commission is supposed to come back, they're going to say, wait a minute, there's still gerrymandering going on in Texas. There's still gerrymandering going on in Ohio. There's still gerrymandering going on in Florida. We have to continue with the gerrymandering. This is what's going to happen. They will find an excuse. So therefore, I don't think it is temporary. So that's total fantasy. So the second thing is that you cannot cheat your way out of it. What they should do is, what the Democrats should do is they should outperform Trump. To me, it's all about competition creates performance.
Look at Tapper's face. Yes. But we can't outperform Trump. Trump's been beating us at every single turn. I agree with you, kind of, but we can't do it, so we got to cheat.
So what they do is with the redistricting commission is that they're going to go and try to draw the district lines in such a way that they get voted in no matter if they work well or not for the American people. So the American people get cheated on this whole thing. That is really the problem here.
Exactly. The American people get screwed by the Democrat Party. Now, Lynn Sanger, you're absolutely right. All those Antifa and rioters do not vote. Dems are now realizing blacks and Hispanics are voting red. Exactly. And that's why you have this that's a perfect lead-in. This last little clip from Newsom says it all. They are trying once again, they are trying the age-old tactic of Republicans evil because they are racist. And it is not actually true. And For the most part, I believe the blacks and Hispanics have woken up to this fact. Hispanics far more than blacks, but blacks, especially black males, have woken up to this fact because they broke 25+% for Trump. Check this out. This is the last little clip in this one because this shows, again, exactly who Gavin Newsom and the Democrats are, just how vile and evil they are.
60s world. You got the Supreme Court talking about getting rid of the Voting Rights Act, and that's very real.
Yeah.
That may likely happen in just a matter of months. I mean, they're rewriting history, censoring historical facts.
No one's rewriting anything. The fact of the matter is, the way the Voting Rights Act was contorted in order to create majority-minority districts is absolutely the same thing as affirmative action. It is reverse racism. That's all it is. It is discrimination based on race.
It's a unbelievable moment. All this anti-woke stuff is just anti-black. Period, full stop. All the CRT, ESG, DEI stuff, that's all this is. It's this great purge, and it's happening in real time. And I'm sitting here, and I feel like, luckily I'm governor, but like we're not doing enough. Right. We're not calling this out. We're not drawing a line here. And again, it's not about Democrats or Republicans. It's about who we've
right and wrong,
man. Yeah,
right
it's
and
right
wrong.
It's about right and wrong. And the fact of the matter is DEI, CRT, and woke is absolutely wrong. And that's what the American people have woken up to. And guess what? Woke is not just anti-black, full stop, end of story. No. The American people have woken up to this scam too. That's how you couch this for years, that anything that was anti-LGBTQ plus IA, A, B, C, D, L, F, G. No. People have realized that that was a cloak that trying to hide CRT and Antifa and the whole LGBTQ mafia underneath the covers of it's just like the civil rights movement. People have woken up to that. Lifestyle choices and the other egregious elements of that agenda, people have spoken out against and said, no, we don't want men and women's sports. No, we don't want children transitioned. No, we don't want any of that. And it's not anti-black. It's absolutely, the anti-woke agenda is not purely anti-black. It is anti-many things like men and women's sports. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So we've got Gavin Newsom absolutely getting schooled by Schwarzenegger, Tapper and Newsom basically at the same time getting schooled by Schwarzenegger, while you've got Margaret Brennan in a rare instance of accidental journalism, Timu Obama. Now, let's keep going because realize this is who the Democrats are. They are more than willing to cheat to win. We've known that, but now they are going full-throated show your ass theory. If you're anybody who doesn't remember what show your ass theory is, the Democrats, the leftists, the liberals, the communists, the socialists will eventually show you exactly who they are. And they are in that mode right now. They are showing you exactly who they are. They are willing to essentially destroy a ballot measure that was voted on by the people of California as an amendment to their constitution. They are willing to destroy their constitution in order to get back at the Republicans because the Republicans did something first. Now, let's switch gears because along this same vein, we've got similar problems in New York City. Realize we've got Mondami poised to win the New York City mayor's race, which is extremely scary considering just how evil and vile this man is and everybody who he's connected to. So I want to switch gears just a little bit because, again, there are Black Americans in New York starting to wake up to this fact too, that you've got somebody being foisted upon them and that this person is not a good person, let alone not a good candidate. Not saying he's not running a good race from a let's garner all the fringe voters we can get and cobble them together. No, not that. Not that he's not shrewd, not that he's not a tactician, but that he's not a good candidate to be the mayor of New York. All right, let's dive right in. I really appreciate everybody rolling up so far. Thank you so much. Please smash that like button for me. If you haven't already subscribed to Courageous Media, please do so and smash that like button. Hit the thumbs up for me. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And please leave a comment. Let us know you're here in the comments. Again, appreciate it. Let's dive right into this. We got this video. You're going to love this video first off. And we will get rolling with who is the real Zoran Mondami.
So never has the black vote ever been as important to Democrats as it is right now in this New York City mayoral election. But interestingly enough, you don't really see the leading candidate talking to black folks. And I'll just say the so-called leading candidate. But here's the interesting part. Black people have been, for the most part, pretty silent this election cycle. And I think that's noticeable. And I think one of the reasons why they've been so quiet this election is because they're starting to realize, we are all starting to realize that our collective interests have been wholly ignored by Democrats. And especially the ultra progressive wing that we see that is taking over the Democrat Party. A lot of our so-called progressive allies continue to push politics that have an imminent destructive impact on the black community. Yet when you try to pull their coat to it and try to make them aware, hey, if you do that, that's going to have a harmful impact on us. You know what those white progressives do that are out there screaming and yelling with the blue hair? You know what they do when you try to warn them about the dangers of their policies? They laugh at you. They tell you, you being a black person, that you're being divisive, that you're even a racist, or you're a phobe, you're a transphobe, you're a homophobe, you're anti-immigrant. But notice, I think black people are really starting to see that the pro-civil rights people and the justice warriors have walked away from the black community at large. Because
All right. Apologize for that. We had a little technical difficulty. So you've got Mondami out there. So you got Black Americans that are basically waking up and realizing that this whole thing is a scam, that the progressive Democrat liberals have absolutely destroyed their community. And anytime a Black American stands up and espouses anything slightly different than the ultra-left progressive wing of the Democrat Party, they are labeled as a transphobe, a homophobe, an Islamophobe. They're labeled as an Uncle Tom. They're labeled as the black face of white supremacy, as they called Larry Elder. Meanwhile, the progressive liberals are destroying their communities, destroying their neighborhoods, destroying the Black family. And they're just supposed to toe the line. Well, they've had enough. They're waking up to the fact. And right now, you've got the working class Blacks and the working class Hispanics in New York are saying, hell no, we're done with this. We don't want any of this. But what Mondami has managed to do is cobble together all of the white liberals, all of the ultra progressives. He's cobbled together a lot of the students and a lot of the young people because he ran on free things and pro-Gaza, pro-Hamas, which really resonates with liberal young voters. Doesn't resonate with conservative young voters, but certainly with liberal young voters. So we've got a shift happening in New York. But right now, the problem is I don't think it's enough of a shift to basically carry Cuomo or Sliwa, because Sliwa's still in there, to victory. It's very much looking like you're going to end up with an Islamist, jihadist, communist mayor of New York City, which is going to be really, really bad for Black Americans. Because remember where they took all of the illegal immigrants when they showed up in New York. Did they take them to the Upper East Side? Did they take them to White Plains? Did they take them out to the Hamptons? No, they put them in Black communities. They took Black community centers and turned them into refugee centers. They took schools and turned them into refugee centers. Meanwhile, they took other illegal immigrants and put them up in 5-star hotels, gave them cash cards, EBT cards, free phones. And the Black Americans and the Hispanic Americans who have been here stood up and took notice and said, wait a minute, we didn't get any of that stuff. Not that we needed that stuff, but why would you give it to illegal criminal aliens? And they're waking up. But is it enough in these last days before the election to actually make a dent? Now, the other thing about the Mondami campaign is that everything he stands for has essentially been AstroTurf lies. He's been out there running. He ran on a completely communist agenda, which that is true. But all the things he talks about, wanting freedom of religion and wanting to embrace with Jewish people and loving America, all that is lies. And I've got 2 clips that I want to show you that highlight just how much he has been lying on the campaign trail and how evil and dangerous this man is. So check out this one lie told about, I believe it was his aunt. It's really interesting just how he has tried to hide his past from the New York voter. Check this out.
Who stopped taking the subway. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Oh, the fake tears. My aunt stopped taking the subway because she was afraid to wear her hijab. Come to find out, it has been revealed that the aunt, shed fake tears over, actually neither wore a hijab nor lived in New York City. She lived in Tanzania. This whole thing, he's an absolute fraud. He is a fakester. He is as big a Manchurian candidate as Obama was, even bigger. He is a liar. Now, also realize that this is who raised him. I want you to check out this clip from Zoran Mondami's father as he talks about America. These are the same views that Mondami has about America. Make no mistake about it. We need to call our friends in New York and tell them to get out and vote for anybody but Mondami if they want to have a city left in 2 years. Check this out.
America is the genesis of what we call settler colonialism. And the American model was exported all around the world. Abraham Lincoln generalized the solution of reservations. They herded American Indians into separate territories. For the Nazis, this was the inspiration. Hitler realized two things. One, that genocide was doable. It is possible to do genocide. That's what Hitler realized. Second thing Hitler realized is that you don't have to have a common citizenship. You can differentiate between people. The Nuremberg laws were patterned after American laws. Anyway, the US put Indians in reservations. The US invented the model.
So here you've got Zoran Mandami's father telling you that America is the root of all evil, that Abraham Lincoln put people in camps and on reservations. Now, he's got his facts completely wrong. The German Nazi Party did not look to Abraham Lincoln for inspiration. They did not look to America in general for inspiration. When it came to the final solution for the Jews, where did they look? They looked to the progressive wing of the Democrat Party. They looked to what the progressives had done in terms of Jim Crow. Specifically, they looked at Jim Crow and what American progressive Democrats had done with that. Now, so he calls America the root of all evil. He basically says that, America has taught the entire world, and that now we don't have to have e pluribus unum. No. The Islamists, the jihadists in America, as Mandami is one, do not want assimilation. They want a completely Balkanized culture. They don't want a fake Balkanization like the progressives have been doing to America for the last 50 years, where they pit black against white, against Hispanic, against Christian, against no. They want actual Balkanization. They want no assimilation. They want to do to America what they've been doing to Europe, where you have entire enclaves of Islamists in their country who do not speak their language, do not ascribe to their laws, actually try to get elected in local elections and then bring about Sharia in their localities. And right now they're realizing that America is up for that fight, that we will not allow Sharia to be the law in any local community because it violates the Constitution of the United States. But this is Mandami's father. This is who Mandami identifies with. This is what he's about. But it's not just that. Check out the Mandami voters, okay? And how do we know this person that I'm going to show you is a Mandami voter? Well, he's wearing a hot girls for Mandami, even though he's a freaking dude. This is who they are. Realize the masks are coming off. It's the show your ass theory in full bore. Check this out.
You turned on a fucking nasty Israeli fucking song.
You're talking,
bitch.
He's attacking us. Can you please have somebody?
That's a fucking lie. You're monsters.
Because I'm a Jew.
Realize what he's screaming about. Somebody turned on Israeli music. How do you know it's Israeli? I have no idea. They turned on Jewish music. How do you know it's Jewish? I have no idea. Now maybe, but there's music that's generally Middle Eastern versus music that's, classical European or, Indian or, East Asian. I mean, you can tell specific genres, but he's going off on the fact that they played music. Are you kidding me? Calling them monsters, shouting F-bombs. This is who the Mandami voters are. Again, the white liberal knuckleheads. This is who they are. They're absolutely disgusting, egregious people. Now, a couple more clips to hammer home the point of what is going on, right? So check this out from a Mandami Kathy Hochul rally. I want you to watch. It's not very long, but watch till the end and pay attention to what the crowd of Mandami faithful start shouting. This is scary stuff.
and we get up stronger, live, and more resilient than ever before. I'll be fighting every day with my partners on the same side, Andre Stewart Cousins.
Tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. Guess what the rich are going to do in New York? They're going to leave. In today's economy, you can pick up most of the businesses in New York City are not, not asset intensive businesses. They're office building intensive businesses. You can pick up those businesses and move them to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, Texas, Florida, anywhere you want, almost overnight. It's easy stuff. It's not like you've got to pick up, equipment and move it somewhere. It's not like you've got to build a new factory. Most of those office companies, office jobs can get easily relocated. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Right now, the wealthy and the smart in New York are preparing for a mass exodus because they won't live under Mondami. The only people who will be stuck in New York are those who do not have the wherewithal to leave, those who are in 9-to-5 jobs, those who do not have big giant savings, the Hispanic Americans, the Black Americans, the blue collar workers of every style and shape. They're the ones who are going to be stuck in New York, who are going to be the victims of the Mondami policies. And what is it that Mondami really wants? Does Mondami really want, is he really all about, some state-owned grocery stores? Yes, he is. But even more than that, check out what Mondami is really all about, what his true agenda is. Here we go.
Alhamdulillah, there are 1 million Muslims in this city. 200,000 of us are registered to vote as Democrats. In the last election, only 7% of us voted. Now, I will not blame anyone because often it feels like there isn't much to vote for. But this June 24th, with early voting starting tomorrow, it is an opportunity for us to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City, we also belong in City Hall. Because yesterday I stood on the debate and Andrew Cuomo stood next to me. And here was a man who was the governor for a decade, and he could not name a single mosque he had ever visited. He could not name it because he does not care.
Exactly. Because in general, in many cases, Islam is in direct contravention of the US Constitution. If you are a true adherent of Islam and you want Sharia law, that is in direct contravention of the US Constitution. So what Mondami really wants is Islamists in control in New York. That's what it sounds like to me. You let me know in the comments what you thought of his little talk right there. And the communist, socialist, Islamist policies that Mondami is pushing are not limited to New York. Check out Mikey Sherrill. Now, it's a little bit different tact, but here is the same idea. This authoritarian, we have our globalist agenda and we are going to shove it down your throat, whether you like it or not. Even if it's anti-Constitution, even if it's anti-American, even if it's anti-working class, we are going to shove it down your throat. Check out this from Mikey Sherrill, because this is the new face. These are the new faces of the Democrat Party. The Ilhan Omars, the AOCs, the Zoran Mondamis, the Mikey Sherrills, and that's why we need to soundly defeat them in these midterm, in these special or these off-term elections for Virginia governor, New Jersey governor, and if possible, New York mayor. But check this out.
I believe that parents have the right to oversee their children's education. I would push an LGBTQ education into our schools. Parents have a right to opt out of a lot of things, but this is not an area where they should be opting out, because this is an area of understanding the background of people throughout our nation. And right now we see, for example, at the Naval Academy, an erasure of history.
So, I believe that parents should be able to opt out of stuff, but not really. No. I'm gonna play lip service to what I think parents want to hear. That yeah, you can opt out. Oh, except for LGBTQ, except for the one biggest, most important thing that parents want to opt out of: the sexualization of their children, the LGBTQ. Ismification of their children, for lack, I can't even think of a word, but the gender transition ideology training of their children. The one thing they really do want to opt out of, no, you can't opt out of that. No, we are going to jam that down your throat. We are going to take the ultra left wing, ultra immoral, progressive element of our party, of our platform, and we are going to shove it down your children's throat, and you have nothing that you can say about it. This is the Democrat Party. This is who they are. Hey, welcome in, Rebecca. Really appreciate you showing up. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Let me say that. I just want to give a shout out to all who have showed up this morning. Please smash that like button for me, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and if you like this content, please share Courageous Media with everybody that you know so that we can get the word out. But to my friends in New Jersey, in Virginia, in New York, get out and vote. Drag 10 people with you. Get out and vote. If you're in New York, you've got to defeat Mondami, or basically life in New York is over until they can flip the script there. But at least in Virginia and New Jersey, you've got a chance. You've got a chance to elect people that will not transition your children, that will not sexualize your children, that will not completely destroy your economies. Get out, get Jack Chittarelli in there, get Winsome Sears in there, get out and vote. Now, again, I really appreciate everybody rolling up. We got two more stories I want to get to today. The first is what's happening with our friends down south, way down south. I can't really call them neighbors. They're kind of neighbors, but way down south in Argentina. If we all remember Javier Milei, well, he was facing a very tempestuous election because everybody said that he was going to get blasted, that none of the Argentines liked him or his policies. Well, let's check in and see what happened. And let's first start with this nice little video, just a little step down memory lane with Javier Milei. Shall we?
Ministerio de Turismo y Deporte, afuera. Ministerio de Cultura, afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera, aunque te resistas. Vamos a seguir por acá. Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología e Innovación. Algo bien del sector privado. Nada bueno salió del sector público. ¡Afuera! Ministerio de Trabajo, Empleo y Seguridad Social. ¡Afuera! Ministerio de Educación. Adoctrinamiento. ¡Afuera! Ministerio de Transporte. ¡Afuera! Ministerio de Salud. ¡Afuera! Ministerio de Desarrollo Social. ¡Afuera! ¿Cómo queda el Estado? Ministerio de Capital Humano, Ministerio de Infraestructura, Ministerio de Economía, Ministerio de Justicia, Ministerio de Seguridad, Ministerio de Defensa, Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores y Ministerio del Interior. Se acabó el curro de la política. ¡Viva la...
I still love that video. Afuera! Ministry of Culture, afuera! Ministry of Transportation, afuera! Out, out, out. And he has delivered on his promises. Now, they came up to some midterm elections for seats in parliament in Argentina. And if you watch the news, every news agency, all the locals in Argentina, all the local media in Argentina, and it was being parroted by people like CNN, Javier Milei was going to go down. He was going to get kicked out of office. He was going to face a major backlash because nobody liked him. Nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted his policies. They hated him. Prices were up. They were trying to create any lie they could in order to see this man defeated. And what happened? The exact opposite. Check this out. This is absolute gold right here. This is Javier Milei. I'm going to show this video, but first I want to read some of the captions that came. This is an X post. So from Basil the Great, Javier Milei storms to victory in Argentina. The polls were lying. The media were lying. They said he would lose. They said he would struggle. Wrong. He won in a landslide. Check this out. See if you can see this. Oh. So here we go. The polls were lying. The media were lying. They said he would lose. They said he would struggle. Wrong. He won in a landslide. And here's Milei celebrating on election. And the masses of people out on the street to celebrate with him. This was the absolute populist revolution in Argentina. They have kicked out the bureaucrats. They've kicked out the corrupt. They have kicked out the establishment. They've kicked out the globalists. They have completely redefined their relationship with China. Javier Milei has gotten the economy back on track. Prices are actually down, regardless of what the media and the Argentine media tried to tell you. Prices are down. The economy is up. Their budget deficits are down. They've got the American government is now willing to loan them money because they're actually a good credit rating. Now, here's another, here's another element of election night where they were out celebrating with Milei. This is great stuff. So you got Milei out celebrating. Now, just to show you how bad the lying was leading up to this, here's the polymarket odds on Javier Milei winning the election. He's down here, or his party, not him specifically. But again, this was for seats in parliament. This was like our midterm elections. So La Libertad Avanza, which is Milei's party. The lies were so bad by the Argentine media, by all of the Argentine establishment, global corruptocrat types, that the polymarket had his odds as basically 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right up until the election when the Argentine people spoke and said, not so fast. We're not buying any of this crap. And they absolutely crushed the UP, the Union por la Patria, which is the liberal leftist party in Argentina. And so now you've got Milei solidly entrenched in Argentina, ready to make Argentina great again. And he is Trump's biggest ally down in South America. It is amazing stuff. What we could accomplish, hooked up with Argentina to completely remake the Americas and kick the Chinese out and kick the communists out of Venezuela and Nicaragua and Colombia and all those. There's a great future here. So let me know what you think in the comments. This is amazing stuff. While New York City hurtles towards globalist, communist, corruptocrat, Islamist Armageddon, you've got Argentina. He has completely flipped that country around in 2 years. It is absolutely amazing. Lynn Sanger, you're right. It became too big to rig in Argentina. This is awesome stuff. All right. One last story for you today that I want to get to. And actually before that, and the reason, realize that the reason that the media was lying so hard about Javier Milei, the reason they were trying to gaslight, to destroy his chances in parliament, is because of what he stands for. And one of the primary things that he stands for, other than no globalists, no corruption, none of this nonsense, is he is firmly against the globalist woke agenda. Check this out. This is why they wanted to try to gaslight the Argentine people into giving away their one chance at freedom. Check this out.
Promueve la agenda LGBT. queriendo imponernos que las mujeres son hombres y los hombres son mujeres solo si así se autoperciben. Y nada dicen de cuando un hombre se disfraza de mujer y mata a su rival en un ring de boxeo, o cuando un preso alega ser mujer y termina violando a cuanta mujer se le cruce por delante en la prisión. Sin ir más lejos, hace pocas semanas fue noticia en todo el mundo el caso de 2 americanos homosexuales que enarbolando la bandera de la diversidad sexual y fueron condenados a 100 años de prisión por abusar y filmar a sus hijos adoptivos durante más de 2 años. Quiero ser claro que cuando digo abusos no es un eufemismo, porque en sus versiones más extremas la ideología de género constituye lisa y llanamente abuso infantil. Son pedófilos. Por lo tanto, quiero saber quién avala esos comportamientos.
So Javier Milei is fully 10 toes down against the entire LGBTQ plus IA agenda, specifically on the trans side. He has said absolutely no to gender transitions of children. He has said that the gender transition ideology is absolutely evil. It is what it is. It is child abuse. It is pedophile, exactly, 100%. So Javier Milei has stood 10 toes down against the globalist trans ideology agenda. And that is why they needed him out of Argentina. They wanted the number one reason. The other reasons were that he was going to get rid of the corruptocrats, the globalists, he's going to get rid of the Chinese, but most importantly, he is standing against what right now is the globalist, progressive left's big linchpin that they are trying to destroy Western civilization with, and that is the trans ideology. It's amazing stuff. Congratulations to Javier Milei. Really appreciate you having one of our friends down, having you as a friend down in South America. Now, let's switch gears. One last show, and that is Trump and his Malaysian tour. So Trump flew to Malaysia. He is on his way to Japan. I think he's already arrived in Japan now. He flew to Malaysia as part of the ASEAN summit, ASEAN summit, at which time he and the U.S. delegation met with Xi and China. And I want to get into that. But first, before we get into what actually happened in those meetings, I want to show just the welcome that Donald Trump, the world changer, Donald Trump, essentially president of the world at this point, got from the Malaysian government and the Malaysian people. Check this out. This is absolutely awesome stuff. Here we go. All right. So sorry about that. Another technical difficulty. So you've got Trump. I just absolutely love the fact that he is dancing. Hawaii 5-0 is playing in the background. I don't know what it is Trump's, if there's any relation with Trump and Hawaii 5-0. There he is in a Malaysian country. He's meeting the delegation. He's meeting the ambassador, the entire military honor guard, and they're playing the theme from Hawaii 5-0. Da-na-na-na-na. It's crazy stuff. And you've also got Trump dancing with the dancers. He's remaking foreign relations, and then all the American flags. This is great stuff. So Trump flew there, had the meetings with Xi. Then he's on his way to Japan. He had a press gaggle on Air Force One. Let's get into that, where he starts to discuss how his talks went with Xi. Check this out.
Hello, everybody. Have a good trip. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a very long trip, right? What's up?
What are you expecting from your meeting with President Xi? What is your message to him?
Well, we have a lot of things to discuss, including our farmers. Right? We have a lot of things to discuss. The various trade deals that have been made in the past, and some broken, some not broken, but we've got many, many things. I think it's going to turn out to be a very good meeting.
Do they need to get it?
Now, from there, we actually have reports now that they have a framework, that Trump has exited Malaysia with a framework for a deal. They don't have an actual deal yet. But again, this is going to be a slow burn. But check this out from Fox News.
Announcing just moments ago that a new framework agreement has been reached with China over rare earth minerals that will void Trump's 100% tariffs against China. Here was President Trump earlier.
I think we're going to do well with China. I think we're going to have a deal with China. We meet, as you know, in South Korea with President Xi. I think we're going to have a good deal with China. And they want to make a deal, and we want to make a deal.
Now, President Trump began his first trip to the Far East as part of a three-nation tour. We have the map here. Here in Malaysia, President Trump just presided over the formal peace deal, officially ending the decades-long conflict between Southeast Asian nations, Cambodia and Thailand. Trump heads to Japan tomorrow to meet the country's new conservative prime minister who loves heavy metal, and Margaret Thatcher, and is the first woman to lead the nation. Today, then, it's off to South Korea Wednesday. Here was Trump earlier on that peace deal between Cambodia and Thailand.
So he formalizes the peace deal, which has just been fantastic stuff. But I want to dive into, because we've got another report on the ongoing talks between the U.S. and China and the good things that are happening. Now, I want Trump to put the screws to China. I don't want any, this is me personally, I don't want any deal that does not absolutely put China in a box, get them out of stealing our intellectual property, get them out of, essentially their ploy for world domination. But this is great stuff. If they have come to an agreement, the framework of an agreement that will open up the rare earth minerals again, and void some of those 100% tariffs, that's fine. But let's make sure that we are repatriating all that rare earth mineral processing and mining as much as we can. Let's get it from Canada. Let's get it from Greenland. Let's get it from other places so that we are not dependent on our adversaries. Check this out.
Trump's high-stakes trip through Asia has brought him to Japan. But all eyes are on what's happening between the U.S. and China, actually, the world's second largest economy, now that the two sides appear to be on the brink of a trade deal that could avoid new tariffs. Just days before President Trump is set to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea, the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced what he described as a substantial framework for that agreement, which includes provisions, they say, on fentanyl, China purchasing U.S. soybeans once again, rare earth exports coming out of China, and the ownership of TikTok. Aboard Air Force One, the president expressed high hopes about closing the deal.
We have China coming, and it's going to be very interesting. I have a lot of respect for President Xi, and we are going to, I think we're going to come away with a deal.
CNN's Kristen Holmes live in Tokyo for us right now. What more are you learning about this framework, Kristen?
Yeah, I mean, Kate, everything we know either comes from Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent or his Chinese counterpart, and it doesn't all 100% line up. We haven't seen any kind of paperwork, any kind of actual framework. It's just snippets here and there. Scott Bessent has sounded incredibly bullish, whereas his Chinese counterpart sounded more reserved. Now, that's to be expected, but here's what we believe to be in this framework. One, when you talk about fentanyl, a further cooperation on stemming the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. Now, as you mentioned, soybeans, which is a huge issue in America, particularly for American farmers. China would buy a, quote, substantial amount of U.S. soybeans. China could delay export controls on rare.
Here's the framework as they have laid it out. Now, we'll have to see. I will give this person, credit on one thing. Yes, up until now, the U.S. has been far more bullish on a trade deal than China has. But realize that the leverage right now all lies with the U.S. The U.S. can, it may take a while, it may be painful. The U.S. can get rare earth minerals and rare earth mineral processing in other places in the world. The Chinese exporters cannot get 39% of the world's global consumption anywhere else. They cannot make up for the U.S. consumer market anywhere else in the world. They can't go to Africa and get them to make up lost 39% of the global consumer market. They can't do it. The U.S. owns the consumer market. We are the consumer economy, which means we have the leverage, which I want to see Trump and Bessent in a nice way put the screws to China and make sure they are in a box, and at the same time repatriate all these strategic industries, whether it's steel, whether it's automobiles, whether it's batteries, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's microchips or rare earth materials. Bring them all back into the United States or into the U.S. sphere of influence where we can control it. That's what I really want to see. And we'll see how the rest of this trip plays out. Again, he's going to meet the first woman prime minister, the first conservative, not the first conservative, but a much more conservative prime minister of Japan who loves heavy metal music and wants to essentially kick all the immigrants out. So she is MAGA for Japan. And I really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks so much for being here. Lynn Sanger, I think that number 9 on these deals should be for give China nothing. Exactly. I cannot agree more. I think we should put the screws to them before we give anything away. But I really appreciate everybody rolling up. Please smash that like button for me, subscribe, turn on the notifications if you haven't already. And if you like this content, please share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. Help us break this YouTube algorithm and get out of this box that we are in. Thanks so much for being here. Remember, God is good and he is awesome. And until I catch you next time, have a great day.